Hi and welcome to this Cancer-inspired reading for August 2025. You can use this reading anytime you find this or it resonates with you. I am working with the system of the tarot cards and with the system of Western astrology to look at a picture and to maybe find an insight or more insight, maybe a different angle, a different perspective for your situation. I am not a fortune teller. I merely work with the cards as a creative tool for self-reflection. And yes, I'm channeling energies, but this is more of a momentary reading. All right, so my dog is sneezing to confirm. And maybe he wants to go see the camera. Pablo, hop. Oh, no, he doesn't want to. I thought he maybe wants to make a cameo. Oh, now he wants to. Come. No. Oh, he's... All right, let's just get into the reading. Maybe you're trying to connect with animals. I don't know. I tried, but next time. Eight of Cups in the reverse. This is here somewhat in the center. And a little bit in the future position of our reading in the subconscious layer, so what we are maybe not so aware of. And there is, I feel like there is some moving on happening right now already emotionally from places, situations, people that we know we are not part of anymore, or we don't belong to anymore, even though it was maybe at some point a strong sense of belonging there, where we want to get a little more independent, where we want to get it into a little more light and happy place with ourselves, and we don't want to get held back by maybe these energies. We might have even invested a lot into situations, places, people emotionally, but also we've come to a point where we're like, now we need to move on. It's not even with any bad feelings or, you know, negative connotations. It's more about we feel ready to move. And I think this is what we might even be inviting right now, and what wants to come in, and we are slowly inviting that, and it's going to be maybe a more automatic response, or we just might feel ready without even realizing it that much on a more conscious level. So let's see. Ooh, Four of Wands, love it. So yeah, we already know where we want to go to. I think we already see very distinctively and strongly what the right environment for us is, where there is more lightness, as I said before, where there is more happiness, where there is the people that we belong to, where we can feel free and open and fun, and we can also experience life on a little more of a creative level rather than this super stable and secure level. And this card is really showing this very beautifully with this big castle in the background that is very stable and very secure, of course, but we are ready to step out in the open into a more lively and beautiful and pretty situation also, and a more fun situation. And we are not alone. We can see that there's two people in these cards who are running towards this little Four of Wands tent that looks very fun and beautiful and simple, but we maybe understand that we only need the simple things in life to really enjoy life as well. And this can be, of course, also a card of very open and fun, not open in the sense of polyamorous or, you know, non-monogamous, but open, sharing, heart space sharing, fun, exciting relationship, or a person who is really inspiring us, or where we feel like we are completed, even though I'm always a little careful with that term, because we don't want to put the burden on another person to complete us. I think that would be a little much to ask, but we feel like we complement each other. Okay. Oh, Ten of Wands. I want to draw more cards. We might have worked hard for this situation to arrive. The Fool, love it. Eight of Swords. Yeah, we might have worked very hard to get out of our little constricted mind space here with the Eight of Swords. We might have really, you know, done everything we can to kind of free ourselves out of some thought patterns or some ways of thinking that hold us back, or that really make us think that there is no choice also. And sometimes with the Eight of Swords, we don't come to a conclusion. We just have to let time pass, or we just have to let go of trying to do all the things. And we get more into a trusting space, which is the Fool here in the subconscious. Very beautiful. It seems like there is just like a letting go of thought patterns, a letting go of things we have to take on, or all the work we have to do. I think this is already right now the process of taking some of these sticks that are representing all the things we want to do or have to do, or we take on all these activities. Maybe we are in the process of putting down a couple of sticks, and maybe it's even exactly 6 sticks, because with the wands here, 4 of wands and 6 is 10. So we might have taken on far too much for ourselves to be actually happy, because I think we are in a moment of realizing that we don't need much to be happy. We also don't need much to be creative and to be open, and there is endless possibilities really presenting themselves every day, which is the Fool type of attitude that is coming out here in the subconscious, and it's very beautiful. And I think this is what helps us also emotionally letting go, because for Cancer identifying people, or people who are drawn to this sign, it could be the understanding of the situation is maybe not so much the problem. Also, the acting is not so much the problem, but really on a deeper level, emotionally letting go of a situation is probably a little harder. With the Sun in the reverse in the higher consciousness, we might still feel a little hesitant to fully step into our shining light, into our shining moment where we really shine from the inside out. But I think this is just part of the process of letting go, and we are very aware that this is something that is already there. With the Sun in the reverse, I always say we know who we are, we know who we want to be in the world. We're just starting to practice also on an everyday level to step into that light, to step into that lightness, to practice that joy. And I think joy needs to be practiced. We need to really invite it. And I think this is a realization right now that if we want to live this more free and more expressive life, we have to start practicing it. And of course, there's sometimes a little bit of a hesitation, because we might be still holding on to some things, or we might want too much all at once. But I think this is all resolving really beautifully here with the Fool and the Eight of Cups in the reverse. Let's see where we move towards. The Five of Cups in the reverse. I love it, because yes, in the combination with the Eight of Cups in the reverse, we are also able to emotionally let go of the disappointments, of the hard feelings, of the difficult feelings. We might realize that it's not even that complicated or that hard work anymore to just let go of these feelings, to just not hold on to them. And I think as soon as we do that, that's when we are really ready to step forward, to move forward. And it seems like very automatic. Our system knows on a deeper level, subconsciously, it's time for a reset. And that's the Fool. And with a reset, everything is possible. Because these old programs of our subconscious mind, of our conscious mind, maybe even are a thing of the past. We don't have to carry them. We don't have to carry them into this new situations. And yes, of course, we have to process feelings, which is also the Five of Cups in the reverse. We do have to process our feelings, but it's going to become easier and easier. That's what I think. To work through these disappointments and to move on. And I don't think it's new disappointments. I don't think we want to expect disappointment from this new beautiful place, because we're moving into this place because we think it's really complimenting us and it's really a place that is inspiring. And we don't, if we move into a place like that, we don't expect disappointment. And I think that's maybe something that's changing here, that we don't expect the disappointment anymore, and that becomes very, very conscious, and that's letting go of that expectation on a deeper level and freeing yourself from that here subconsciously allows us also to not get stuck so much in situations, surroundings that don't feel just right for us. They feel good, but just not right. Okay, how do we see ourselves? Nine of Cups in reverse. Well, okay, might be a little bit of a challenge, and this makes a lot of sense. Eight of Cups, Nine of Cups, to stay somewhat emotionally independent. Maybe we're still looking for some, even though we know the right environment for us and we can sense that this is the direction I want to go and this is the direction where my people are, or my tribe, you know, or this special person, still we might be aware that and that's quite smart and that's quite self-reflected of people when they know, okay, there's still some neediness in me and I have to work on that. You know, maybe I expect too much from other people to give to me when it comes to my emotional balance, or I still expect other situations or outside sources to make me happy or to make me joyful or to make me feel more fulfilled. But this is a good, you know, this is a good moment to really look at that and practice that, because the more I think we practice this lightness, this creativity, this openness, this fun part of ourselves, the more we invite in the joy. And this card is really a lesson in how do I create my own emotional happiness or my own emotional upbeat and content energy. So from the outside, Two of Cups in the reverse. Yeah. So many cups, the Nine of Cups in the reverse. People might sense that, you know, people might sense that we have expectations and therefore holding back a little bit. The Two of Cups in the reverse, it could be read two ways. You know, it could be either like, yes, I have this for you, but as long as I feel like responsible for your emotions, I'm gonna have a hard time trusting that this is emotionally safe for me. Or it could be, okay, I just don't vibe with you, which is kind of the same thing. You just wanna, the one thing is that if we don't change this within ourselves, and if we don't fill our cups by ourselves, which is the irony of the whole thing, then people are not going to be willing to pour into us, and that's unfortunately, or I don't know, people will, but then it will be not a very balanced and healthy dynamic, and it can really get you into trouble, you know. Like real trouble. And we see how many things are going on in relationships and how it's not all about like romanticizing, you know, partnerships and stuff. So we as a society got much more aware of that, and I think stepping more and more into our joy and our self-expression we will be able to fill our own cups so much that we don't need this outside source necessarily to fill our cups. But of course, we still have a need for connection, and that's completely fine. This all has to do with self-love. So we are afraid that this is emotionally just a little too much for us. Maybe this is in the fierce position, the Queen of Cups in the reverse. We have all these cups all of a sudden. It could really also bring up stuff where we step into this new environment, where we feel so good about what's going on. We feel also good about the people, but we also know we have to step it up emotionally ourselves. Because if we want that inspired, fun, free, open relationship, or we want to be part of an environment that is very light, I want to say, we gotta have to be a little self-sustainable to be able to be part of it. And we cannot be too needy, because when people get too needy, it's not fun anymore. And I have serious cancer placements in my chart, so I also talking to myself a little bit. I'm not trying to give a pep talk to you. It's just, yeah, all right, if we want to be part of this fun, and we want to be part of this lightness, and we want to open up our heart, we cannot hold on to this like, oh, but you have to give me something, or it's an inside job. And this is a little scary maybe for us, that it just brings us off balance a little bit, or we cannot really master it. To be that loving and that considerate and that kind towards ourselves. And for some reason, with the Queen of Cups in the reverse, for me, it just also seems like in this fear position, maybe we're just afraid not to be able to handle our emotions, which is for water signs just sometimes really a little scary, because it could be a lot, But with this 5 of Cups in the reverse, 8 of Cups, it doesn't seem like there is this huge disappointment coming towards you. And it could also be like, oh, wait, I'm in a completely different environment right now. This is not how people are here. People are not trying to get to me, and people are not trying to, maybe I'm a little too guarded off emotionally, or maybe, I don't have to expect the worst. It's not happening. And I think the more we get into that trusting position and trusting ourselves and our own decisions, the more people will be able to also trust our judgment. So what I'm also hearing is, this is not me anymore. And I'm saying that also because of the Fool, because it's a reset, So what is the key card? Also, we're going through retrograde in Leo, and that's a lot about the self and rethinking. We're going through Mercury retrograde in Leo, and it's a lot about rethinking the self and self-concept and identity, and how you want to sell that also to people. The Hanged Man. Well, in this case, I love it, because we might just become very aware of how we often got ourselves into situations, or how we are also partly responsible of being constricted, confined, and somewhat powerless in situations. But how that also helps us surrendering and finding deeper truths and a deeper connection to ourselves, because it seems like there is no way out. It's weird. It's like, it seems like we're getting into this environment that is really fun, that is really open, that is for us, that is light, that is teaching us to more and more step into our light, more and more be ourselves, but also is kind of forcing us to let go of old identities or things that held us back, or also surrendering to fears, surrendering to surrendering to strengthening our connection to ourselves. And that's for also Cancer maybe a little difficult, because they like to nurture and they like to give and they like to overgive often, and then they get disappointed. I'm sorry, I know it's hard, but this is really about, you know, finding your place in an environment where people might not need as much as you think they do on an emotional level, and therefore are much more self-reliant and independent. And we kind of have to surrender maybe to the fact that we need to step it up, you know, we need to, it's time now to also step into that new position, and that could be a big realization. It could take some time. It could take quite some figuring out the details, looking within, maybe meditating, maybe working through your body. With the Hanged Man, for me, it's a lot about also doing body work, maybe yoga, where you really tap into the scores that the body keeps, you know. Also trauma release, stuff like that. It can be very helpful and very, very enlightening. So yeah, I love this reading. This is very, very deep, and thank you so much for being here. Please check out the description box how you can support this channel, how you can order a reading, and I hope I'll talk to you next time. And please like, subscribe, comment, and take care. Bye.